7. You guys ready down there? You guys ready down there? Good evening and welcome to the February 21st meeting of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. For invocation tonight, I just ask you to take a moment of silence to offer your own intentions. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilman Renatar?
Here.
Councilman Galuli?
Here.
Councilman Aragosa?
Here.
Councilman Kirkland?
Here.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, here. The agendas for the meeting are right up front. There's only one item we're going to remove. It's item 14, approving the minutes for the regular town board meeting held on February 7th. I was neglectful to get the clerk my 10-page state of the town speech in time to get that done. So we'll get that back on the next agenda for next time. So with that, there are no other changes to the agenda. We will start with town council reports on my left with Councilman Aragosa.
Just to say that the GECC, it's the Glenville Environmental Conservation Commission, will be meeting this coming Monday, I believe in this room, Monday the 26th. Thank you.
Councilman Kirkland.
Yes, I'd like to report that I had the opportunity to participate in the trail walk in the Indian Meadows on Saturday the 17th. And I would just like to point out that it is just one of the beautiful recreational opportunities that we have in Glenville. And I'd also like to thank Vicki for her commitment to the parks and making them just a beautiful spotlight for our community. It was like a 4.5-mile walk that we took. It was a beautiful day. Also, Rotary was part of the day, and they kind of co-sponsored the event with some hot cocoa and some other refreshments at the end. It was just a wonderful day. So thanks again to the staff and everybody at the town employees that just make this a beautiful park that it is. Thank you.
Thank you. How was the turnout?
It was nice. It was nice. There were quite a few people, and it was just an absolutely beautiful day. The sun came out. It was probably 30 degrees, and yeah.
I couldn't make it. I was out of town, obviously, and I think this is the first one that Vicki was able to go to where former Councilman Godlewski and I weren't bickering for 4.5 miles. Didn't you miss that?
Yeah, we had a pleasant walk. Yeah.
Councilman Renatar.
No reports, Mr. Supervisor.
Councilman Galuli.
I just have one item. Today was the first meeting of the Traffic Safety Committee for 2024. It was also my first meeting since I was sworn in. Well attended. There was definitely several residents attended and spoke about their concerns, most of which will be followed up with the Traffic Safety Committee upon obtaining more information and data through Mr. Melander. And the next meeting will be in April.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. It's a public hearing. It's a public hearing to hear all those interested in the proposed local law regarding shopping carts owned and controlled by retail establishments and other businesses in the town of Glenville. I will open the public hearing. Anyone who wishes to speak on that matter, you can just come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. I'll open the public hearing. I'll just quickly give a brief overview of the gist of it, and then anyone who would like to speak can. So public hearing is now open. This again is for a new local law to amend the chapter 163 governing shopping carts owned and controlled by retail establishments and other businesses. Essentially, we've determined there's been a hazard, a safety hazard, and a blight to the community with these constant shopping carts being left at bus stops throughout town center. This would put the onus directly on the retail establishments. It's their property that is being abandoned at these bus stops. And this would make the retail locations put the property of the name of the shopping cart owner, and if found with a telephone call on the shopping carts, it would require the store owners to display that the shopping carts cannot leave the property in their area, but most importantly, require them to, without question, retrieve their shopping carts immediately. If they're found in violation of any of these, there will be a $100 first offense fine and $250 for a second in each subsequent offense after that. Each shopping cart would be considered a separate violation. Each day a shopping cart is off the shopper cart owner's premises will be a separate violation. It also gives us emergency situation to remove shopping carts if we believe there's a danger in the shopping cart, for example, being in the road or being on the pedestrian path. That's the gist of what we're proposing. The public hearing is open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Anyone at all wish to be heard on that matter? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Pam Menton. I'm at 9 Charlton Road in Glenville. I've been after these carts for years. And so my questions are just, how do they get notified? Like, can a resident just notify and they're on notice?
So in a public hearing, we don't normally have a question answer session, but if you want to list your questions, I'll try to address them when we bring up the law, because we're going to take it up later. I can explain if you have questions at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Well, but if you want to give us your questions now.
Well, you answered a few of them already, but actually that's really it. How do they get notified and, to start the clock?
Okay.
Thank you.
So are you, just to be clear, are you in support of the law or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Michelle McKeever. I actually am a Director of Customer Service for Market 32 and Price Chopper. I just had a couple of questions about the law. Will you have a time frame for us to be able to retrieve shopping carts before we're considered in violation? And how long that time frame would be?
So again, it's not a question and answer, but I'll address that. Whatever questions you have, if you want to ask them, kind of like rhetorically.
Yep.
We'll address it when we bring up the law.
Okay, so we're looking at time frame.
Yep.
How would we be notified? We do have somebody at our facility here in Glenville that is a property manager that retrieves and returns carts daily at our facility in Glenville, that returns them to other businesses. We do have a bus stop that's directly across from the store. So they tend to, will be there at the bus stop throughout the day, but we do retrieve them throughout the day. So the time frame of when they're not allowed to be there would definitely, we would like to know.
Absolutely. And for the record, I do want to say your store in particular has been most responsive to this issue and has cleaned up the issue more than any other store. So I do appreciate that. And again, we're not trying to be punitive, but some of the stores have not been particularly supportive in retrieving their carts.
Yeah, we're part of the community.
Yep.
We strive ourselves to be, part of the community and want to be helpful just as long as anybody else.
We appreciate that. Your store has done much better than the others.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we will, in discussion, address some of these issues once we bring up the law coming up next. The next item, however, is a public hearing regarding all those interested in a proposed extension to sewer district number 9 for a certain parcel, which, do we know which one? Oh, 0 Maple Avenue right here on the roundabout. I'll open that public hearing. This is for a extension to sewer district 9 to a property on Maple Avenue, currently known as 0 Maple Avenue. Anyone want to speak on that? Going once, going twice. Seeing none. We We now will get to a presentation from Labella Engineering regarding the Van Buren pedestrian path. We have some folks here. I know Dave is here from Labella, and two associates, which I'm sorry I didn't get your names. I apologize, but you can introduce yourself when you come up. And we'll take this presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or enough for everybody.
All right, good evening. My name is Dave Talon. I'm a professional engineer with Labella Associates, who's the engineer of record for the Van Buren Sidewalk Project. With me is Bridget DeHaan, who's I'll call her our senior civil engineer on the project, and Liz Rosenzweig, who's entry-level engineer, both civil engineers. And they've been working quite diligently on this project for the past few months. So I'm here to answer any questions you have. I have a lot of information I can share. I'm going to try and keep it brief. But in this handout that I just handed out is a lot of times when we do a project like this, we'll put something like this, like an info sheet together that the town can share, put on its website, post at the library, town hall, wherever they feel. And it just gives some information, contact information about the project, schedule, and so on. So as far as an overview of the project, it is the project, we've broken into phases. Some of you are aware. We're going to be talking about phase one tonight, and that's a 2,100 foot long, 5 foot wide concrete sidewalk. To the right of this board is Route 50, Saratoga Road, and it basically starts and stops there at the just east of the curb cut for the sushi restaurant on the corner. That's where it starts, and then it ends at St. Stephen's Lane, just on the east side of St. Stephen's Lane East, and that's the 2,100 feet. There are two at-grade crossings, one at Mayfair, one at Jennifer. There are, where's my little, anything to look up there? No? There are a total of 13 driveways, one at the sushi restaurant, 3 at the apartment, and 9 other residential driveways. 2 crosswalks. Their crosswalks are going to have those rapid rectangular flashing beacons. If you've been through Outlaws, they're there, the new sidewalk there. There's going to be a pair proposed at each crossing. There are, the whole project, all 2,100 feet, is within the right-of-way, within the county. It's on county property, county road. So the entire 2,100 feet we can keep within the right-of-way, with 2 minor exceptions. There's called a grading release at the sushi restaurant to match the the driveway curb aprons. We're going to have to get a grading release with that property owner and at the apartment complex. So those are the 2 grading releases we anticipate. And there are 7 ADA compliant ramps throughout the project at each intersection. Orchard has 2, St. Stephen's has 1, and then at each crosswalk. I think I've been using the word grade crossing. Crosswalk. There's the ADA compliant ramps at those locations also. On the back of your handout is the typical section for the project. The entire 2,100 feet is going to be on the north side of the of Van Buren. And the distance from the edge of pavement to the front face of the sidewalk will vary. But I think it's 3 to 10. It gets as narrow as 3 feet and as wide as 10 throughout the project. And on each side of the sidewalk, there'll be some minor gradings, turf restoration to reestablish turf in there. So that's a quick overview. I don't know if you'd like more detail or have any questions.
Well, I think that's a good overview, and you can ask questions. But I do want to just add that from the town's perspective, this is part of a much larger project. This is the tail end of what started with Town Center, sidewalks being built, and then the sidewalks to the pedestrian path to Woodhaven, Glenridge. This will connect phase 2, which is coming, and we have funding for, but not all of it potentially, but we have some engineering problems with phase 2, getting over some streams. But this will bring and connect Town Center, Woodhaven, and St. Stephen's, all these neighborhoods together with pedestrian friendly path. Would also connect all of that to 2 parks, 2 major parks, the parks you guys just had a trail walk in. So this will connect into eventually Anderson Park, which that trail system connects into Indian Meadows Park. So we're connecting parks and neighborhoods and business corridors all together here. What started 15 years ago as people criticizing you're building sidewalks to nowhere has now gone somewhere. And I'm very happy about that. And I'm very supportive of this project. So I see you are looking to start in June and end in August. So that's
Yeah, we
impressive.
anticipate a 2-month construction with the right contractor. It's a fairly straightforward construction project. Very minor utility conflicts, no utility pole relocations. We did take the sidewalk, or it was proposed a wider path, and to keep both within the right of way and also to avoid utility pole relocations, we went to a 5-foot wide sidewalk. That's why we landed there.
Any questions from anyone on the board?
Any anticipation of, or what's the anticipation about traffic
During
during
construction.
that time, or
It's, we don't get into means and methods with the contractor, but a logical anticipated traffic issue is when the concrete truck arrives for pouring of the concrete. We anticipate having a lane closure during that day, or probably 2 days of pouring. And that would be handled with flaggers by the contractor and signage and communication to the community that will be pouring concrete on those days. The sidewalk construction itself, the contractor most likely would be able to contain the construction without using, short of just signs on the road and cones on the shoulder. But we don't anticipate a lane restriction or lane closure. When we tie in those 13 curb cut driveway aprons, there'll be some short-term limited traffic control to finish the apron tie-ins to Van Buren.
So on this backside picture, you're
Sure.
showing some grading to handle runoff. Is that what I'm seeing? I mean, it is planned that the slope of the road, whatever water comes off the road will come off of the sidewalks as well.
Right now, in general, the road surface is higher than the original ground, which is what we're
Right.
building on. So in general, not always, not 100%, but in general, it's road will sheet flow. We'll have our storage area, sheet flow to the sidewalk. The sidewalk will pitch towards away from the road. So everything will sheet flow the way it does today. So there's no additional
So
water.
there is some consideration for getting that water to come through and not stop on the sidewalks.
Yeah, we are looking at grading, big picture grading. There's a high spot near the apartments, just east of the apartments, and then it slopes towards St. Stephen's and slopes towards Route 50. So at that point, the water will naturally tend to flow east and west of that high spot. We don't anticipate this being, creating trapping water or creating ponding in people's.
Yeah, ponding my
Well, if
concern.
they're having ponding
with
today,
icing.
they're going to have ponding after our project. I'm not going to eliminate ponding that's existing today.
There was some talk that we were going to consider a concrete sidewalk connecting town center and then feather out past the apartments to a asphalt trail like we have out here.
Right.
Is there a reason why it's all concrete?
For phase one, the decision was made to go concrete all the way basically for right-of-way reasons. 8 feet's a lot bit wider because there's 8 feet plus the grading. So when Craig was here, we made a decision at that point, one, to stay on the north. That was one decision. That's where the park is. We're not crossing Van Buren. The sidewalk isn't crossing onto the south side. So, the county has, you guys may know the history more than I. They don't want any paths next to their roads. There was an issue that there was either 5-foot sidewalk or
8-foot asphalt.
yeah, there wasn't. So we've gotten away from, and quite honestly, if it's not a multi-use path, which now we're calling it a 5-foot sidewalk, it's 5-foot sidewalk standard width. So we don't anticipate any narrowing of the sidewalk in Outlaws. There's a couple places where it necks down to get around some fire hydrants, I believe. So we don't anticipate any of that for phase one. Phase two,
It's another story.
yeah, we're looking at phase two as we speak, but we've been concentrating on getting this to the letting.
Any other questions?
You did say that the green space between the edge of pavement to the sidewalk would be a minimum of 3 feet in some places and 10 feet in others,
It
correct?
varies now
Okay.
on, the
And that is from edge of pavement.
edge of pavement.
Okay,
Yeah, not white stripe, not shoulder stripe,
correct.
edge of pavement
Okay.
to front face of sidewalk. It's 3 feet.
How wide is the right of way?
I'm sorry.
How wide is the county right of way there? I mean, it's
That varies also. It's a weird, if you looked at the property line map, which we have surveyed, it's not an offset of 10 feet from, don't ask me why, but it doesn't,
Because they've moved the road. over
oh,
here.
maybe, yeah.
We found that in many other projects. Because the roads moved over the years, they don't move the right of way necessarily.
okay.
So it gets narrower and then wider and narrower and wider.
I can tell you this, on the south side, it's not centered. The road isn't centered on the right of way, I can tell you that. The south side would have been much more challenging right of way wise to fit a sidewalk in.
So I'm assuming you've taken into consideration the maximum allowable setback for safety concerns.
We basically kept the back side of our sidewalk, we call it the outboard side, is as close, as far away from the road as it can be, but it's within the right of way.
Okay.
That was our governing. And we did take the sidewalk and kind of, I use the royal we, Bridget took the sidewalk and it's hard to see with the naked eye, but it's not a straight line. It keeps it, if we had the room, we pushed it away from there. Slightly, it's not, you're not gonna have the sidewalk with the, not like a zigzag, but there's some subtle adjustments to the alignment to kind of hug the right of way and get as much distance from the road as possible.
Yeah, I don't have any other comments about that. I will make one more comment. I do appreciate the level of commitment that the town has continued to make for safety reasons for its residents, to allow them to access shopping and services and parks, as Chris has stated. So I think it's just another example of how Glenville continues to enhance quality of life issues for its residents.
So this would be a great addition.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look forward to groundbreaking.
Yes, sir. Good luck with the rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
You mean you're not going to stay?
So while they hold up the maps, we will open privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor is another opportunity to address the board on any matter before the town that you have. So I'm going to open privilege of the floor. If you'd like to speak at privilege of the floor, raise your hand. We'll call you to the podium, just like the public hearing. It works the same way. So we're going to open privilege of the floor. Anyone else wish to speak at privilege of the floor on any matter before the town? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, privilege of the floor is now closed. The next item on the agenda is supervisors' comments to the board. I do not have comments this evening, so we're going to skip over that tonight. And we're going to get right into the next item on our agenda, which is item number 10, a resolution adopting local law 2 of 2024, amending the Glenville Town Code to add chapter 163, governing shopping carts owned or controlled by retail establishments or other businesses, to the town code of the town of Glenville. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Just to start the discussion, as we just heard at the public hearing, this is a local law, an attempt to deal with what we see to be a challenge in our town center in particular, with the proliferation of shopping carts that have ended up at bus stops from the north end of the town center to the south end of the town center, all 4 bus stops. It's really been every major retailer. Some retailers have been more responsive than others, but some have not been responsive at all, and has really led to a situation where we find this to be a hazard to the health and safety of the public. It interferes with pedestrian and vehicle traffic and creates a public nuisance. It's certainly a blight on our town center. And we see it as abandoned property that has not been carefully taken care of by the owner of the property. And so this would require the shopping cart owner implement measures to prevent any unauthorized removal of shopping carts from the shopping cart owner's premise. This would also require the shopping cart owner to be responsible to retrieve and collect those carts owned by them and have been removed from their shopping cart owner premises. It also requires that each shopping cart storage location prominently and conspicuously display that the shopping cart should not be removed from the property. It also requires the shopping cart to mark their property with name, quote, property of the name and address of the store of the cart owner, and if found, please call a telephone number. And it should require that all shopping carts be secured other than during hours of business operations. So anytime that the store is not operating, their carts need to be secured away. It does provide for a fine of $100 for the first offense for any of those violations and $250 for a second and subsequent offense. Each shopping cart shall be a separate violation. Each day a shopping cart is off the shopping cart owner's premises, it shall constitute a separate violation. It provides an emergency situation for public safety where the town can remove the carts, and the owner would have abandoned that cart at that point or be considered abandoned. And that is the gist of the public new law for shopping carts. We had some questions at the public hearing. One of them was, how does this work? Who gets notified? How does they get notified? Do the residents notify the store? Does that mean they're on notice? No, the notification has to come from our codes department in order to be on notice. A resident can certainly call us and we'll respond to that. We're in very close proximity, so we happen to see this daily. So we'll be responsive in that manner. So the notification has to come from a certified code enforcement officer of the town of Glenville. That's the only way that you'd be considered on notice. As far as time frame for retrieval, the law does allow for, or does require, that shopping carts must be secure outside the hours of operation. So we would consider that a day. We would consider that the violation would be within that period of time, that if you close your store at 10 o'clock and it's still not secure, the next day we wake up after you've been notified on, say, March 1st, then March 2nd becomes the point to where we consider out of code and would get a violation for that. How we will notify the store owner through the codes department. Our codes officers have been very good, very busy with calling managers and stopping in and talking to managers. And so that will occur that way. I hope that answers the questions that were asked. And we can have a discussion on this. And if there's any open questions, we may take one or two if we still have that point.
If I could say something?
Yes, please.
In addition to what the supervisor just said, technically, if during the hours of operation, a shopping cart is off the premises of the owner of the shopping cart, that would be a violation. A question as to how long you have to retrieve the shopping cart is really not one that is answerable, because you wouldn't know when the clock would start ticking as to when the shopping cart was off the property. Is it when somebody notices it? Is it when somebody takes the shopping cart off the premises? In speaking with the supervisor and code enforcement, obviously the goal is compliance, not punishment. And the goal for this town has always been compliance and not punishment. So the local law is designed to encourage shop owners to police their areas and make sure that the carts don't wander off. And shopping carts have sort of a unique inherent hazard in that they can roll into traffic, and that is one of the concerns for public safety, over and above the appearance of shopping carts that may not be in the best condition throughout the town. It is the paramount concern is for public safety. So there will be, of course, a period of time when a shopping cart could be off the premises, and it might be retrieved before it's reported, and the town's not going to necessarily send people out. The shopping cart police aren't going to be out there looking for renegade shopping carts throughout the town. But if they are reported and it's a consistent problem, like any other town code violation, that is taken into consideration.
We're hopeful that this law catches the attention of all the property owners. As I said earlier, some are better than others, but some have not been attentive, and we're hoping that this at least gets their attention and they'll start to be attentive. As far as time frame, I think, though, Jeff, one of the questions might have been about how long do they have to get their signs up and get their shopping carts labeled. This local law takes effect immediately upon filing at the New York State Secretary of State, which does take a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's usually about 10 to 15 days after it's submitted.
Yeah. So I guess the concern implied, I think, in the question is if their signs aren't up and their shopping carts aren't labeled within 15 days, are they out of compliance? I think that'd be the question.
No, technically they would be out of compliance, yes. The town can allow a grace period, a reasonable period of time, but if they're out of compliance 6 weeks from now or 2 months from now, I mean, the local law contemplates really nothing more than a sticker on the shopping carts and some form of signage on the shopping cart storage area, warning, cautioning not to remove the carts from the premises. So it's not intended to be burdensome on the shopping cart owners.
But the town will work with the local businesses being affected to try to get this in effect. And again, as Jeff said, it is about compliance and not being punitive. And so we don't anticipate there'll be many issues with this once this law gets adopted and is known by the shop owners.
So just my only thought is, can we make sure that the businesses get informed exactly, how we plan to enforce this and how we plan, what their requirements actually are, and make sure that we do that for them so that they can get going with getting signage up and take care of all that.
Through our codes department, we have pretty good communications with them. So we will make sure that's communicated.
Perfect.
questions or comments? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Balooey?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 11, scheduling a public hearing to be held here on March 6th at 7 o'clock regarding anyone interested in the extension of the temporary moratorium on large-scale solar energy systems. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. As you all know, our moratorium is expiring quickly on this, or soon, and this would just be a public hearing to hear the public on the potential expansion or extension of the moratorium.
Just to say, I know it's on the radar of the GECC. They'll be talking about this on Monday. So hopefully they'll have some feedback. I know they've put some work into talking to the town of Rotterdam's environmental people to find out where they are with their moratorium and how that's all working. So hopefully we'll get somebody from the GECC to come and talk to us a little bit more about the extension during this public hearing. And as I've said in the past, I'm always happy to support a public hearing.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote the vote.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Balooey?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 12, approving the petition to establish an extension to extension 29 to sewer district number 9 for that 0 Maple Ave that we just had the public hearing on. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
None, Mr. Supervisor. This is just as stated to approve for 0 Maple Avenue, this sewer extension.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote the vote.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Balooey?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 13, appointing members to the Return Park Advisory Committee. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Just as stated in the resolution, this is appointing these individuals to govern their drainage district within their community,
And these individuals all live within the.
within the return.
Yep.
Yes.
And just for transparency, they are Richard Eustace, Don Sweet, Jeff Legier, Carlos Teixeira, and Jenny Lippin, all members of that. And their term expires at December 31st, 2025. So this is a 2-year term?
2-year term.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, could you further vote?
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Balooey?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 14 is off the agenda. We'll move on to 15, and that approves the monthly reports for January 2024, correct?
Correct.
For 2024. I just saw that. Yeah.
It's on this resolution.
Yeah. So this does approve the monthly reports for January 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
And as stated, it is correct on the resolution approving the monthly minutes.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Balooey?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next item is new business. Item 16, I'll start on my left with Councilman Aragosa.
I have nothing.
Councilman Kirkland.
Nothing.
Councilman Ramichardt.
Just that the GLDC's monthly meeting will be held next Wednesday at 4 o'clock here in the boardroom.
Very nice. Thank you. Councilman Balooey.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing. I have nothing, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
A second.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any adjourned? We're adjourned. Thank you.